This episode of Destructoid is brought to you by Jack Threads. Coming up on Destructoid, we believe in a thing called love! Just listen to our review of The Darkness 2 right now on Destructoid.
Welcome to Destructoid. I'm Tara Long.
And I'm Max Scoville.
Happy Tuesday, Max.
Tuesday.
It's Tuesday. You know what that means? Our second review for today. Hopefully you guys already saw our Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning one, which we put out sometime today. I don't know which one's coming first, but we got two for you because it's 2 for Tuesday. And today we're going to talk about The Darkness 2, which I was personally excited about. Now, this review should hopefully provide 2 different perspectives on the game. One from me, a person who happened to be really into the first game and has been excitedly anticipating the sequel, and one from you, who is maybe not so familiar with the first game. You played a little bit, but
like
for the most part, you're a newcomer.
The first one, I think.
Yeah.
You know.
Now, fortunately, it's clear that the developers put care into making sure that even people who haven't played the first game can still enjoy the sequel and understand what's going on. So they start the game off with this previously on the Darkness thing, you know, like what they do on 24 and shit. Just a little clip at the beginning to give an overview of the events from the previous game. Incidentally, they also let you change the difficulty settings at any point in the game. So, you know, if you start to feel like things are too hard, you can bump it down a notch. There's 4 difficulty levels overall, so I thought that was pretty good. Now, the story picks up a couple years after the last game. Jackie's now the head of the crime mob family, and his dead girlfriend Jenny is still dominating his every waking thought, frequently showing up in flashbacks or hallucinations and then disappearing moments later. As the story progresses, we start to see a more troubled version of Jackie emerge as the darkness really starts to take control of his mind, providing for some unique and interesting plot twists along the way. Now, much in the way that the original game succeeded in eliciting player emotion, The Darkness 2 features just as many, if not more, memorable scenes. One in particular that comes to mind for me is when you walk into the old diner that Jenny used to work at and you see her, and it's like you're immediately transported back in time. And you end up dancing together to the classic 1950s Flamingos song, Only Have Eyes for You, which is one of the greatest songs of all time. Only to snap out of it 5 minutes later and then realize you are completely and utterly alone and it's just the darkness that's fucking with your mind. And that, my friends, is what I love about this game. The writers really excel at making you feel like you're the one experiencing those intense moments of ecstasy and happiness, only to yank them away moments later. Yeah, that was kind of a problem for me. Anyone who's ever accused comic books or video games of being an adolescent medium, they have some excellent evidence with The Darkness 2. Going from ripping dudes in half with your giant moray eel demon tentacles to lighting a candle for your dear departed girlfriend and then being consoled by your Aunt Sarah is kind of like playing as a moody teenager. You know, you go from just one thing to the next, lots of mood swings. That being said, I'm sure there are plenty of moody teenagers out there who will love this game. Jackie as a character is kind of an asshole. I have trouble feeling sympathetic for the loss of his girlfriend when he's a mobster who kills people for a living. And then these drawn-out emotional sequences where Jackie remembers slow dancing with Jenny are kind of counteracted by having a mini-game where you go out on the balcony and shoot pigeons with your friend Dolfo, like you did when you was kids. There is one scene which has Tone Loc's Wild Thing playing in the background and has your little darkling sidekick running around and fucking dudes up. I laughed, and I wish the whole game had been that ridiculous. Now, my criticisms of the story aside, I fucking love the visual style of this game. It looks more like a comic book than any game I can think of, and if it was photorealistic, this would probably be the most gruesome and violent game I've ever played. However, the cell shading and oversaturation just makes it look like your average Top Cow comic. Now, in terms of the game's art direction, it's nothing too mind-blowing, but the heavy line work and stylized palette makes the game really fun to look at, and it is a huge improvement of what I've seen of the first game. Yeah, I really liked the cell shading, actually, and I'm glad that they took a less serious approach this time around, because the first one, you know, I just think it fits in more with the whole paranormal theme of the game. And about halfway through the game, you actually visit this rundown carnival in Astoria, where in between punching out lights and shooting bad guys, you participate in these mini carnival games, like you try to win Jenny a teddy bear.
Again, total
there's
swings.
even a haunted horror ride. I actually really liked it. Small touches like that, for me, provide a nice change up from the action, and they kind of help inject some humor into an otherwise serious game.
Press X to slow dance with your dead girlfriend and kiss her.
Okay, that is not in the middle. Shut up. Okay. Max and I have some differing thoughts on the storyline. Either way, the combat was solid in the first game, and I think it's safe to say that it's even better this time around thanks to your ability to quad wield. Unfortunately, once you experience that feeling of shooting a round of bullets into a guy's heart and then grabbing him with your tentacle arm and ripping him in half from limb to limb, well, going back to plain old first-person shooters is admittedly pretty difficult and boring after that. Almost better than awesome demon tentacle arms, however, is the addition of a much-needed skill tree. Scattered throughout the game are talent shrines, which let you use essence points that you get from killing enemies and eating their hearts to purchase upgrades and skills for your character. These range from relatively standard stuff like faster reload times for your guns, to some crazier things like the ability to suspend people in air and then slash down with your demon arms so they explode. Just, you know, fun stuff like that. In addition to the weapons and ammo you find lying around, there are also hidden relics throughout the levels, which are basically the lore of the game, and that they don't really serve much purpose other than for storytelling and netting you a few hundred extra essence points, which you can use to upgrade your character.
I was immediately pleased with the quad wielding.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the coolest
awesome,
mechanics I've seen in a game in a long time. And after leveling my shit up with the skill tree, I only became more pleased. I mean, it's like a skill shot system from Bulletstorm, kind of crossed with the gravity gun from Half-Life 2. If they had a baby together, and then that baby could just like vomit bees at people and open up black holes that would suck people into them and kill them. It's
crazy,
nuts.
but it's also super intuitive. Also,
yeah, no,
right?
It's easy to pick up.
It's really
fun
easy
to
to
use.
pick up.
In the first game, you had your different sidekicks, the little darklings running around, and they did different things, and you had to pick which ones you wanted. It was more of like a micromanaging mechanic than an action mechanic. In the Darkness 2, you have the one darkling who goes around the whole time, and he's attacking enemies and saying lewd things in a bad Cockney accent while farting and urinating acid on dead guys. At a few points in the game, you take control of him and crawl through some vent shafts, but for the most part, he runs around doing his own thing. One perk is you can unlock that allows you to pick up the Darkling with your tentacles and just throw them at people, causing a big explosion, which is fun. Another element in the first game that's been abandoned is using your demon arms to crawl through holes and spy on people and stuff. I did that like once or twice in the first game, and I was like, this is silly. That's been scrapped altogether, and I'm totally okay with that.
Yeah, I am really glad they got rid of that, and I'm also glad that they tightened up the Darkling mechanic. I like just having one to focus on as more of, you know, like a sidekick than
also,
your own personal army.
He's wearing like a basketball jersey with the Union Jack on it and a dead cat on his head, so why not?
Awesome. He's awesome. So one thing we haven't talked about yet are the Vendettas, which is basically the game's co-op campaign. But rather than playing as Jackie in some kind of competitive face-off, the multiplayer actually has its own standalone campaign, comprising around 6 missions total, I think, where you play as one of 4 new characters, each with their own unique abilities. You can play online with up to 4 people, or you can actually breeze through the co-op yourself if you want. Either way, it's genuinely good fun and should not be skipped over. Now, we're going to have our final thoughts on the game when we come back. First, let's thank our sponsor, Jack Threads. Only suckers pay full price, so if you love alternative apparel brands like Kid Robot Hurley and Stussy but hate wasting all your cash on them, listen up. You can score these premium brands at up to 80% off every day. There's a new invite-only shopping club just for guys called Jack Threads, serving up street, skate, and surfwear brands at prices that will melt your brain. There is a waitlist to join, but if you head to jackthreads.com/destruct, you get instant access to all the killer hookups. Go now, and you can get a sweet-ass members-only jacket, just like that one. I like that color on you, by the way.
Thank you, Tara. See that? Buy stuff from Jack Threads and Tara Long will hit on you.
That's right.
Okay, so overall I thought this game was a lot of fun. It is colorful, it is gory as hell, but it's all built around a mechanic that works really well. It might be a little bit short to warrant paying $60, but it is a very good time, and if you're looking for a, compelling story that challenges the stereotypes of video games being an adolescent medium that only caters to bloodthirsty teenagers, well, you might be disappointed. However, The Darkness 2 is definitely a well-made game. It has quite a few fuck yeah moments. Yeah. In addition to ripping off fucking people's heads and shit. Yeah, I hate my stepdad.
That is fun, but I will say the story is where you and I differ, and I personally feel like this game goes beyond the scope of just adolescent carnage, but as a fan of the original game, I'm also emotionally vested in the storyline, so we're gonna have different opinions here. Now, this game definitely had some clenching moments for me. I swear to God, I almost cried twice within the first 2 hours alone, but I am a woman, so either way, I'm just glad Digital Extremes didn't totally abandon that aspect in favor of pure action, which is a lot of what a lot of franchises do these days. I will say, however, that I wish the game was longer. That is definitely my main gripe. I finished the single-player campaign in around 6 hours, and it took about 2 hours to finish the co-op campaign. So while the story by itself may not be enough to make me want to go back and play the campaign again, now that I know all the twists and turns and stuff, obviously, you know, it's not that surprising to me anymore. But the balls-out action and combat scenes are likely enough to keep me coming back for more, and I think the addition of a skill tree greatly increases its replay value. So those are my thoughts on the game. I had a lot of fun with it. It's about what I was expecting. You know, I was kind of pleasantly surprised, though, by a lot of the new environments and things. And the quad wielding, of course, is fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they took it in a good direction, just based on what I know about the first one and what I did with the second one.
It's definitely a step up. You know, I said that in a preview earlier, like last year, and I stand by it. It's a fun game. Conrad Zimmerman is going to be reviewing that for Destructoid.com. So if you want another opinion, go read his review. You and I played the co-op.
I had to leave because I had to go do laundry.
Yeah, so spoiler alert, I think he enjoyed the game, but we'll have to wait for his full review to see. Again, that's Destructoid.com. You can also follow us and the show on Twitter at DTOID Show. Max and I are on there at Max Scoville and Tara Longest, where we hang out when we're not doing this show thing. So go follow us on Twitter and check out our other review that we did today for Kingdoms of Amalur Reckoning, which was another exciting game that we got to check out. It's been a busy week, but we've done a lot.
Yep.
Played a lot of games, and let us know what you guys think. If you plan on picking this up or if you're interested at all, let us know. And thanks for watching.
Bye.